and I knew how to keep my mouth shut. My co-defendant, Tony, who wanted, first he wanted my friend Cliff shot and killed. Of course, I didn't do that. And also, he wanted this other guy, Doug Agacento, killed. Of course, that was never going to happen either. But I played the role. And when we were in trial together, he wanted me to say this and say that. He was scared. I don't blame him. We were facing a lot of time. Hey guys, welcome to the Goodfellow Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Barone. And if you haven't already, please hit the like and subscribe button. And don't forget to check out our Patreon podcast as well, where you will find content like that nowhere else. It's really a nice channel, too. Something different than just here. Anyway, I'm going to talk about a couple of things today. First, I'm going to mention something about my friend Pete, the guy that I talked to you about in our shell. And I also want to talk about the Tulsa King, and I'm going to tell you why. Because I guess you guys, you're aware of. You ever heard the saying, "There's art imitating life"? Well, one thing I got to say about the Tulsa King, first of all, Sylvester Stallone. I mean, he does an excellent job in this show. I mean, I always liked him anyways, since long before. I mean, even Rocky and all that stuff like that. But there's something about his maturity and the way he plays this role. He's really, I mean, a really excellent actor. And I think he came into his own with this thing. And don't forget, I'm going to tell you right now, some of the outfits he's got in there, if I knew where to buy them, I'd buy them because they're better than most of the gangsters I used to see wear. I just wanted to mention about my friend Pete because I was thinking about it the other day. Something came up or something was mentioned. I want to talk about his sister-in-law and his brother-in-law, Anthony, who passed away. May he rest in peace. And I also want to say about his wife's parents who passed away. I'm very sorry to hear that. My condolences to his wife and his wife's family. But there was a time that, look, let me start it the right way. Pete and I were very close. Pete came to me when my mother passed away. And I don't want to get into it too much because, I get emotional with these things. Pete drove me to the hospital. My sister was there and all that kind of stuff. Of course, I was there when his dad died. It's supposed to be his real father, but it really wasn't. But still, he loved him. And I was there for him there, too. So basically, we were there for a lot of times. Of course, maybe I might have been there a little bit more for him. I did come home for my first bit. I stayed with him a few days, about a week. So listen, we shared a lot of times together. And it's not that I don't want anybody to get the impression that I hate him. Because I'm not looking to hate anybody. I don't want to live my life like that. But I got to let you know the stuff that, how about betrayal and loyalty. And this is the reason why I'm bringing up the Tulsa King today as well. Because I want to show you guys, we're going to show a segment. Am I right? We're going to show a segment of today maybe about the Tulsa King where we could talk. Okay. But Pete, when he wanted to hook me up with his sister-in-law, Terry Ann. What a sweetheart. She was a really good girl. Obviously, she's come from a good family. And my friend Anthony was married to her, and I knew Anthony, and I didn't want to hurt Anthony. I took his daughters to Toys R Us because the two girls, Terry, they was Tony, they were Tony and Tony Ann and Ariel. They were really. I took them to Toys R Us. The little one, she ran through the store. She dressed up in a dress for me because she knew it was going to be an outing, like a whole day. And I got such a joy just watching her run through all the aisles. I says, anything you want here, you pick out whatever you want. Well, the mother thought I was nuts, like spending the money I did. I don't care. You know something? The smile on both of their faces made my day. And believe me, over 18 years of working with the FBI, I was not happy in the whole entire years. I was very depressed, obviously, because of what I was doing, the people I was deceiving. No real relationship because of I was afraid somebody might get hurt around me. So listen, I had so many hang-ups and stuff like that, but Pete wanted me to set up his brother-in-law I think he wanted me to go with Terry Ann, and believe me, I would have went with her because we had a kind of a we it was nice between us. We got along really well, and I think we probably could have made a go at it, but I couldn't do it. I know in the world I was living in, I knew this guy who used to have a lot of girls. They were hookers and stuff like that, and I used to have bring a lot of hookers to like deer parties, bachelor parties, and I would always make money from it. And so that's one of the things I was doing out in the street that I didn't kick up to anybody upstairs. Like everybody should know, I was an associate, and but I kept a lot of things to myself. One of them was this. So, anyways, I could have hooked him up with a hooker, and then had pictures or whatever he wanted me to do and all of this kind of stuff. Well, I didn't do that. Okay, that's not who I am. But this is the kind of guy Pete was. So Pete did a lot of underhanded things like that, and I just wanted to mention that too. Basically about loyalty. I liked Pete. I cared about him. He was, we were good together and stuff like that. But I want everybody to know that sometimes, no matter how loyal you are, sometimes to a friend, people turn on you. And this is the reason why I wanted to bring up there was another story I'm going to do a few of them on my friend Pete because he was like this with me. I'm the guy who actually told him I was working with the FBI. Well, anyways, the Tulsa King. Like I said, the acting in there is phenomenal. There's also another guy that plays in that movie, John Scott. He was lucky enough to get involved with Chucky Zito, and then Chuck Zito helped him out and everything like that. And you'll see it because the clip that we're going to play here, he's standing behind him. You'll see it later on. But anyway, we'll show the clip and then I'll answer about it. Okay, so you saw the clip. Good. Now, do you see the part where he walks up to the old man? They're in a mansion. Okay, this guy's done just 25 years for them. Now, don't get me wrong. He kept his mouth shut. Later on in the series, in this one, he finds out that they tried to kill him in prison because they didn't think he'd do the whole 25 years. Okay, this is a guy who's loyal to them. Okay, just like my friend Dominic from Mafia Roundtable, loyal to them, ready to do the time. Don't get me wrong. In the beginning, he says, I just did 25 years for these guys. Was it worth it? It wasn't even worth 25 seconds, but he still did it like a man. But yet they still tried to have him killed. That's number one. Now he walks up to the guy, as you can see in that clip, where he says, I had a sense of honor. I kept my word to the family and everything. He lost his wife, lost 25 years of his life, lost daughter that didn't speak to him for 18 years either. And they want to put him to Tulsa, Oklahoma, instead of giving him something when he came home. Now, if you could see the guy that was his captain says, hey, and I don't mean to say the way it is, but the guy says, they told you where the fuck to go. When a wise guy talks to you like that, that means they have not only no respect for you, you're nothing. And in the beginning, if you ever watch this show, he says, don't stand behind me. I don't want nobody standing behind me. This guy thinks after doing 25 years, how loyal he was that he was going to get killed. Can you imagine this? This guy is expecting like, hey, something, even if they didn't give me anything, and at least I'm a man of honor. You should be like, wow, you just did 25 years for these people. What a kind of a guy you are. Like, I mean, it's unbelievable. I said, if they come to a mansion and he says to him, how's things going? He goes, well, things are tough. Sylvester Stallone looks at him like, really? You're sitting in a friggin' mansion and things are tough? And he says, look, we can't rewind the clock. The guy says to him, he says, but, he says, we can't rewind the clock. He says, but, things weren't as easy as like when you were around. So he says, Sylvester Stallone says, oh, you mean they were easy when I was doing my thing in my time? No, it was such bullshit. And excuse my Frenchman, but so he says to him anyways, if he put $500 a month away for this guy for 25 years, he would have came to a home to $150,000, okay? In 25 years, which $150,000 ain't shit today. And everybody out there knows it. You can't buy anything nice, but at least he would have came home to something, say, hey, listen, we put a little something aside for you. We got something where you're going to start earning. But no, they sent him away to banishment to Oklahoma and tell him he's got to kick up $5,000 a week. Oklahoma? What's out there? The big boss Pete that one there you saw with the oxygen tank and all that stuff says, he says, I'm giving you a whole city. No, you're not. You, Oklahoma's, you don't own it. You don't have the right to give something away. That's not even yours. You're just sending him down there. You're banishing this guy and telling him he's got to go down there and earn in a place that doesn't really even understands about wise guys. They don't even know how it works. These guys are, a lot of them were shit kickers. They got cowboy boots on. They're doing rodeos and stuff like that. You think they really care about gangsters? They don't know or understand that, what we were capable of doing and stuff like that. They just like, hey, they'll shoot it out with you right there in the street before they know that they're going to come home on their ranch one day and there's going to be 2 or 3 guys waiting for them to whack them. So this is what I mean about loyalty. Okay. Oh, you see the part where he punched him and knocked him out? He actually broke his jaw. He says he's a captain. Well, so is Dwight. Sylvester Stallone's character, Dwight, is a captain too. There shouldn't be no penalties because the guy hit him. He told him, he says, yeah, I made my bones when you were in diapers. He insulted him. He says, now you're wearing diapers. That's why I told you they don't care. They actually want to get rid of this guy instead of trying to show their loyalty back. Even if they never paid him any money, even if they never did any of that kind of stuff for him. You mean tell me this guy did 25 years for him? They couldn't set him up somewhere, like in a storefront, anything. This guy's capable. He's smart. He's loyal. You can't buy loyalty, okay? All right, to some degree you can. If you guys saw The Godfather, and I apologize for bringing up all these television shows and movies and stuff like that, because it just helps me explain it a little bit better, because sometimes I can't really explain it as great as I'd like to. But in The Godfather, he says their loyalty is based, they're businessmen. So their loyalty is based on that. When he was talking to Tom Hagen a long time ago, and I think when I think he was shot at or something, he had to go do something, Mike. I think they tried to take him out at the place. But you still can't buy loyalty, okay? The bottom line is you got to have what it takes inside. You have to believe in something. And in this world, in the mafia, listen, I told you when there was the hit on Mikey Mancuso, and I was going to be involved in it, okay? And did I tell the FBI about it? Yes, I told you. I admitted that freely. And even when I was on the Connect podcast, he says, didn't you kind of throw Dominic under the bus? No, because I was throwing myself under the bus too. I'm the one who has to pull the trigger too. Because if I don't, Dominic knows it was going to be me and Dominic. I find out later, Dominic's going to shoot me too, because I got to put the bullet in him too. So now you think the FBI was going to protect me after I shot somebody? Really? So I wasn't throwing anybody under the bus that I wasn't going to go under with myself. Okay? And the bottom line is, like I said, the loyalty, you can't buy it. And it's more than just a two-way street. The way these guys treated him, it wasn't even a 4-lane highway. Okay, these guys, I want you people to know it does feel good when you're accepted in this life, or in any life, whether you're in a church social group, whether you're in another kind of club, another, well, I don't want to say gang or anything, but it makes you feel good when people stick up close to you. When I used to hang around with the 3rd Street guys in New Rochelle, yeah, there was some things, but we always kind of knew we had each other's back no matter what, okay? And only was the real pricks, the real scumbags, the real dirtbags that said, I don't care if they don't really like you or whatever. But when you got that, closeness, and that's the way I used to, and I think I've explained this before, like when I was with Dominic would have came and did anything with me. And I appreciate the fact that he said, I could have set him up. I could have said, Dominic, we got this thing over here. We got this over there. I got something go. He would have came with me in a second. Just like if anything, and Dominic gets word or whatever, because I know there was a hit on his life, if I have to go where he lives and I have to go down there and I have to spend some time with him, I will. Okay, because you're going to try to take Dominic out. You're going to try to take me out too. Because I'm not letting one of my friends go down. And see, that's the kind of loyalty that we still have. And you only get that if you have what takes inside, okay? But I want you people to know there is a part of, that it really feels good, but you have to come to reality. These people out there in that world like that, most of them, to be honest with you, at least 95% of them are all cutthroats, okay? And unfortunately, it's a sad state of affairs when you're trying to make money together, but you know that if you make a little more money, if this guy's a little jealous of you, if you got a nicer car, whatever it may be, maybe the boss likes you a little bit more, they want to get rid of you too, is, the jealousy is still there too. Remember, we're all human beings, but I kind of wanted to just kind of really talk about the loyalty, and that's why I brought my friend up Pete again, because his loyalty, how he threw it out the window for me, and what he did to me, what he did to my fiance back then, and how he really just turned everything around. He got mad at me once. His wife was married before him. So, what's the big deal? So she was married before him. So his next door neighbor said to me, "Oh, he brags about his wife, and he should, because she was a good girl." Okay, she had a little bit, like a little bit kind of, if she didn't know you or whatever like that, she kind of had this kind of air about her, a little not stuck up or anything like that. I can't say that, but like she thought a little bit who she was. And I only talked to her a little bit because we went to the prom. I went with her friend and everything like that. But he got mad at me because I told his next door neighbor I knew her and her husband before he even met her. I think when we went to the prom, we were out somewheres in some club in Manhattan, and his name was Mike, the kid, and he came to me and he says, "Joey," he says, "listen," he says, "well, I might have a problem here, whatever." I said, "Mike, just let me know," and whatever. And he was a big kid too. I think he was juiced up on steroids, and he wasn't a bad-looking kid. He actually looked like my friend Pete, only with blonde hair in a way, and he didn't have. I don't think he had the light color eyes, but he was a big kid. And I says, "Mike, whatever you got to do," I says, "just let me know, and I'll be there for you. Don't worry about it." So he says to me, he goes, "Oh, thanks, Joey," and this side that. What did I say that was wrong? And then they both were like mad at me for whatever reason. I was like, you see, people nitpick at you for stupid little things like that. And I was his friend. I'm not going to try to hurt him. He's tried to tell me that he gave me the girl at the diner, Joanne, who I dated. He said she wanted to go with me, but I gave her to you, Joe. So this way you could be set up. He didn't give nobody to me. There's another guy, like this guy, the other guy, the Pete in the movie Tulsa King. I'm giving you a whole city. You're not giving me anything that don't belong to you. It's not yours to give. You understand? And then he started getting jealous the fact that I was with her. And how much money did I loan Pete in the street and give him money with no juice? I never tacked on anything. I gave him over $30,000. Okay, he owed it to me on my first bid. He says, "Well, when you come home, Joe, I'll take care of it." Then he gave me 10 back, and then he slowly paid me back. But he had to work it off for me, things that we were doing in the street. So it's a shame about the loyalty. Even look, even if you got a girlfriend or a boyfriend, whatever, who's ever watching, loyalty to your girlfriend or whatever, that goes a lot more ways than even sometimes love. You could love somebody, but if they're not loyal to you and you can't trust them, what good is it? And a lot of people out here you just can't trust. So you got to be careful, and you got to just keep your eyes open and listen, watch. You'll see signs. But I wanted to show you how easy it can be to be caught up in that lifestyle. Because, look, am I right? We've talked about it plenty of times. It's just it's very hard to get away from, you know. But anyway, that was kind of like the topic of this, subject today. I wanted to give everybody. I think that I talked about my father back in the days with Mickey Generoso. Mickey Generoso was a big time gangster. Years and years. I don't even think he did a day in prison. This guy, okay. He used to own a couple of I think he owned a funeral home and stuff like that. He had a lot of money, but he was an arrogant son of a bitch. Well, the Generosos were also in their shell. That's. Well, I think I told you the story about this. My father, he had to whack somebody. They called him down. This is the guy actually who we sent for. Mickey Generoso sent my father to pick up this other guy who became a rat later on, Vic Maturo. I think I mentioned it a long time ago. It's in the book that Larry McShane wrote from the Daily News. Anyways, this is how it is, and I don't know what happened. They said my father killed a guy with another guy. It could probably be true or not. I wasn't there, so I don't know. It's probably true. But my father also did time for a gambling charge with another relation to Mickey Generoso. And sure enough, I wanted to give you a little background about that, how involved my father really was in what he was doing. Also there was a couple of guys that hung around Mickey, friends of mine. They thought I was gonna flip on them, and I'm not saying their names. They know who they are, and of course they were my friends, and I never said anything. Listen, my whole thing was again to find out about my dad, and I knew how to keep my mouth shut. My co-defendant Tony, who wanted first he wanted my friend Cliff shot and killed. Of course, I didn't do that. And also, he wanted this other guy, Doug Agacento, killed. Of course, that was never going to happen either. But I played the role. And when we were in trial together, he wanted me to say this and say that. He was scared. I don't blame him. We were facing a lot of time. I said, Tony, I'm not going to tell anybody up there in the jury but nothing but the truth. And that's the reason why I was acquitted. Look, I want to say thank you for everything, for listening to me and trying to understand what I'm saying. But I told the truth at my trial, and this is what I wanted to talk about a little bit too, because I did act a lot. I was an actor. I put on what I call the Joe Show role. Okay, I had to be this. I had to be that. I had to pretend to be a gangster. At heart, I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a punk. I can handle myself to a certain degree. I'm not going to be out there trying to prove myself to fight everybody I could, but I've had enough fights in my life. I got enough scars to prove it. I don't need to prove. I don't even care if the guy's tougher than me, can bench more than me, get more girls than me. I don't really care about none of that stuff. I'm just me, okay? And the bottom line is I did what I had to do, and my loyalty remained in the end to me and my family. And that's the reason why I did what I did. I'm not trying to say I was right or wrong or whatever. That's just the situation I was in, okay? And I took the road that I thought was more feasible for me. So with that, I want to still say thank you for subscribing to the channel. I thank all the viewers. I'm willing to answer any questions that people have. I also love all the comments. I really appreciate a lot of stuff that you people are saying. If you guys know a story or you want to ask me about anybody, I'm not going to tell you I know somebody and I don't. I did try to keep my distance a little bit away, and I think even Dominic from Mafia Roundtable, again, he might even said it on his podcast, but I know he said it on this one. I tried to keep my distance to a certain degree because I knew I could get really close and really in it, and because also I didn't want to really hurt like Dominic, because look, Dominic was my go-to guy. After he went away, I was hanging around with Louis Electric. It was another captain in out there too, and but I had to keep my distance because I knew what they would want me to do sooner or later, and it wasn't the life I really wanted. Look, I was told you plenty of time. I just was going to be a regular postman. I just wanted a normal life, whatever that might have been. But I had to do what I had to do because my loyalty was to my real family, my first family. And that's another part, that Tulsa King I was explaining to you the other day, this morning. He's driving to this place in Long Island, this mansion. He goes in there, the guy's driving, no conversation. He's asking him questions, where am I going? And then he pulls into this garage and they shut the garage. He thinks he's going to get killed after doing 25 years. I'm going to ask everybody a question out there. You guys can respond to it any way you want. What would you do after doing so much for somebody? Or in this case, it was a family. But even for the two people he really respected, he liked. What would you do if you thought somebody was going to kill you after doing 25 years of your life, losing everything you ever worked for, everything you loved, and you thought they were going to kill you? And I think I might have even mentioned that about Mikey Francis when he was in the gas business doing that thing like that, and then they take him on a sit down and try to tell him you're over here, to, like, scare him to, because he was making too much money, and they were afraid maybe he was gonna, do whatever he had to do, or maybe thought about it. This is what I'm trying to tell you. You think about that, and anybody wants to send a comment in, I'm more willing to listen.
Speaking of comments, Joe, do you want to answer a few before we end off for today?
Yeah, I don't mind. That's another thing we both decided we're going to try to do in every episode that we're always going to try to answer a couple of comments, because you guys, I want to make sure that we keep communication going. We're also going to start doing live shows like we talked about. We're going to do it during the week instead of the weekends. So that this way, if you're coming home from work and you're driving, turn something on, or you're eating dinner, you want to watch something, we're we're gonna be here for you, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. What do you got?
Alrighty. So, Dr. Dennis, MD, says, Joe, did you know my childhood friend Ronald Pasquale?
Dennis. Yeah, no, Dennis. Ronald Pasquale. You know, I don't know. I'd have to think of sometimes I got to think of an incident or something like that, or wherever it may have been from. I don't know where he was from, but if you could elaborate on that more, Dennis, of course I will let you know. But offhand, I don't know.
Another question from Dr. Dennis. Do you remember Johnny Pizza?
Oh, Johnny's Pizza, sure, Mount Vernon. Yeah, of course. That was, I don't know if they call it Johnny's Pizza or Johnny Pie, but he had the best pie. But this guy that was behind there, it was his brother. Johnny is the guy who actually was, there was the two brothers, Johnny and Joe, and one of them died, but he took over. Well, he was like, don't ever go in there and ask for a slice. They didn't make slices. They just made pizza. He was a little rough around the edges, that guy, but of course I remember Johnny's Pizza. As a matter of fact, in Mount Vernon, I used to go to the gun club upstairs. That's where I shot all my guns and stuff like that late at night, because I had machine guns and stuff like that you're not supposed to shoot up there. But I brought the guy a 6-pack of beer, gave him a couple bucks, and he let me have the whole place for like a couple hours and stuff like that. And then I go up there shooting.
Mickey Sullivan says, Rudy Santabello, not Pipolo. Pipolo was the fake name from the HBO show The Deuce.
That might be a fake name, but there is a real Piccolo in the Bronx. What's his name that asked that question?
Mike Sullivan.
Hey, Mike. There is a Rudy Piccolo. There was a Tommy Piccolo, and what was the other? But Louis Piccolo. Okay, that I know because I dated Louis Piccolo's niece. I dated Louis. Louis is his daughter. Was Tommy's. Tommy, I knew his two daughters too. So yeah, Piccolo is the real name, believe it or not. Listen, they had Barone sanitation. They had Barone sanitation in that series, the HBO series, The Sopranos, and also they had the Barone in that comedy show that they had, Ray Barone. So that's a real name too. But thanks, Mike. I appreciate you.
Universal Civilian Strategy says, he's asking a couple of questions here. He says,
Okay.
do you know anything about Luzzi?
Who?
The last name Luzzi, Luzzi. Paul Barone, R.J. Bose in New Jersey.
No, to be honest with you, I didn't really make it to Jersey that much. I kind of stayed in my local areas: Brooklyn, Bronx, Yonkers, New York. But I didn't know them. Sorry about that one. But thank you for the question. Appreciate it.
Avital4414 says, you're the best in the genre.
Who was that?
Avital.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Listen, I'm not trying to, I just want to tell the truth, tell some stories that I've been through, some things, of course. A lot of stuff of my stuff, unfortunately, affected me in a lot of bad ways. But I appreciate that. That's very nice of you to say.
Mike Owens, 1897, says, I love Joe and his stories. He does an amazing job. Thank you, Joe. You
Wow.
get better at this every episode.
Thanks. I'm trying. As a matter of fact, I appreciate that. But also, I hope the microphone, we've been tweaking that a little bit now, too. We wanted to make sure that everybody could hear us and stuff like that. We had some new equipment, and so we're just trying to get used to it. So any audio problems, we apologize, but we're trying to get it out there so everybody could hear. Thank you for that comment, though.
Short Friday says, you would look so legit if you grew your hair out more flared. The short buzz cut takes the Italian away from the look.
Okay. you're probably right about that, and I'm not going to say yes or no. It's starting to grow a little bit longer on top, even though it's been thinned out since I got older. The short buzz look over here is because I got a lot of white, but and I'm not one of those guys. I dyed my hair once. Matter of fact, my friend Pete says dye your hair, but it looked like shoe polish to me, and so I was like, I felt fake. So I didn't. I don't. I had never done it after that, but maybe I'll grow it out on the sides and then I'll gel it back like it used to in the street. But thanks. Yeah, I'll try. We'll see how it goes.
Matt Sweeney says, this is the last one. Matt Sweeney says, Joe, did you play sports in high school? If so, what's your height and weight? Maddie.
Hey, Matt. I didn't really play sports. I played a lot of dodgeball. I loved volleyball, believe it or not. Right now, I'm about 212. 5'11 and a half is my height. Look, I should have been a gymnast, but my friend Carmine Ramonto said that I should have been a gymnast when I was a kid. I was so wiry, skinny, and had an endless amount of energy. But yeah, that was pretty much. I mean, I did play a little softball, hardball, but nothing like my friend Dominic would tell you. He used to play. His basketball was his sport, and he was fast. He probably could have been a professional too. Just like my friend Ralphie Capola he could have been a professional ball player. So there's a lot of guys, believe it or not, that had talent. Me, I guess I played just because everybody said, yeah, we need this guy. I was the guy. All right, I'll tell you how good I was in sports. You're gonna laugh. I was the guy they sent to right field. That's the guy that's like, oh, okay, yeah. Don't keep him away from first, second, and third base. Go out to right field, Joe. You got it. But no, but thank you for that question. I appreciate it. Oh God, but that's why that's why back in the days I took up martial arts. I boxed a little bit. I liked all that kind of stuff. But thank you.
That's all the questions we have for today, Joe.
Oh, okay, that's good. Listen, I want to say thanks again for tuning in, everybody. And if you haven't liked us, if you like it and subscribe, just give us a thumbs up. Don't forget about the Patreon channel. Okay, I am your host, Joe Barone, and I'm here to, just tell my story. And like I said, most of my stories, I have legal paperwork. I have all kinds of stuff to back it up. I'll be coming out with some more court stories about me when I was at my trial and stuff like that. And I got some other surprises coming up soon that I'm not going to spill the beans. But thank you again for tuning in, and you guys have a good rest of your week.